streaming. All right, let's see if this works. Hey, it seems like I'm live already. I hope you guys can see me. This is the first try to actually live stream, so I don't know if that's gonna work out pretty well. Um, I can see quite a few people on the stream right now. I can see DD, on Hank, Costinus Beta, myself. Not really sure how many of people are actually watching live actively, but ooh, what's this? I think there's some feedback. But anyhow, if you're watching, give me heads up in the chat, please. That's gonna be a good pulse check that it's actually working. Okay, I can see the first hello. All right, guys. So I'm gonna crack on. If there's any technical issues, hit me up and let me know that it works or doesn't work. And then also, after I showcase some of the awesome examples people came up with, we can do maybe a Q&A, or if you have any questions or suggestions or things of that nature, I can definitely address it. So, the challenge was quite simple. I see still people are piling in. Hey everyone, who's joining a bit later. But basically, the challenge was data visualization. And as you know, data visualization is always difficult, specifically when it comes to making it meaningful. Because, you always have different users who perceive data in different ways. There is best practices, let's say. There is, I don't know, like different charts you can present for specific data sets. And it's a given. But let's say when you try to go a bit further, when you try to challenge yourself and pick up a specific chart type of graph type, then it becomes a bit more difficult. And so the challenge was very simple. Let me see if this fancy transition is gonna work for you. Let's see if that's boom. I can see that now it updated, and hey, and basically the challenge was that, hey, if you're already familiar, you probably designed something like bar charts, pie charts, something simple, and then you go and find another type of charting or another data visualization which would put you just a little bit beyond your typical kind of way to present, let's say, or just to challenge yourself on a high fidelity or low fidelity approach, be it wireframes or more clickable stuff with more context and richer user experiences, basically. And so I got 3 submissions, and all of them obviously are amazing in their own right. So like, it's always interesting how different designers interpret different briefs differently, and they bring their own creative bit to every single problem. And so without further ado, let me try to copy first link to a first prototype. And this is from a viewer from Arizona. His name is Todd. Let me see if I can bring it up. I think there is some animation to it as well, and it's very relevant to what we're all experiencing. Let me see if I can zoom in so it's a bit more clear, and maybe just refresh again just to show what he came up with. Loading. All right, it's preloaded. So as you can see, he went, and I think this type of visualization is called population diagram. I checked exactly on DataWiz project what's the best practice for these, and it's usually it has to do with very binary type of information. It could be that one side of a chart, let's say, represents female population, the other chart represents male population, and you let's say represent different data to compare specific segment of population, let's say, and it works pretty amazingly. Here, Todd, I think obviously checked the top 10 countries affected by coronavirus, and as you can see, the cases down below is those orange type of bars. And he added as well a mouse over effect, meaning if you mouse over a specific segment, boom, it showcases a number. However, it's a little bit tricky if, you know, the segments are a bit smaller. As you can see, it tends to be a bit dodgy and overlaps and so forth. So there may be improvement a little bit there, but otherwise it's pretty cool type of chart because you can immediately, as a user, let's say, imagine you can compare different bits, let's say from country to country, and actually see what's, you know, if it's really as bad as people say, because you can literally compare the numbers. Because let's say, imagine with South Korean cases, which, you know, number 2 at the point of that, I think Italy overtook it. Not that it's a leaderboard, but as you can see, the deaths were quite low compared to, let's say, I think there's a bit of an overlap here. It might be an issue of the fonts, because when I checked before, it wouldn't break it into 2 lines. It would be basically South Korea, the second bar, and then Italy, the third bar. But you get the drill. It's basically, I think, font rendering online. And you can check my video on that note, you know, shameless self-promotion, check on a playlist for embedding the fonts, especially if you use funky fonts, to avoid the breaks like that. Because naturally, if you limit the text field width-wise and it's too long, it just breaks apart. And let me see, there is something going on in the chat. I can see there is a lot of activity. Boom from Sebastian. Yeah, damn right. There's gonna be booms here. Well, these kind of charts are used, yada, yada, yada. You're right, dark and green. Yeah, darker green is calling out some usability issues, that it's not as easy to compare def and cases, because the units are the same. Well, there is some truth to that. You know, if you could take it a step forward, for example, for Todd, maybe he could add like a zooming functionality or a second state where you can actually isolate the block. You know, for example, as what you can see on my screen, just the values which are very small, and then just expand it and increase the scale instead of keeping it like very gradual. So there are workarounds for that. You know, you can always user test it, but I mean, community just user tested, I guess, and told some bits for improvement. So that's the one thing. That's case number 1. That's pretty good. I really liked it. I mean, it's on point. Now the next case, this was very super creative. Let me bring it up, and it's from Timo. And I think Timo is on a chat today, if I'm connecting the dots right. And as you can see, it's more gamified. It's much more, it's much more funky, for a lack of a better word. But basically, Timo wanted a challenge and check out the radar diagrams, basically, the comparison. I think, you know, some people say this is spider web diagram, some say radar diagram, but it's an easy way to compare different KPIs at the same time. So you can see the improvement, you can see the delta really clearly. And let me show you what Timo did. And that was like, wow, this is something cool. So prepare for this. So as you can see, the Donkey Kong is activated, and I guess this is a GIF, which is playing around. And basically, as a user, you're able to select different player and immediately see the radar diagram update. I mean, it's pretty damn cool, isn't it? And now, to me, the tricky bit, as you can see, you can also see the delta, as I said before, that you can compare different bits immediately. So that toggle is super nice touch. But to me, the best bit was how did Timo made it? Because, you know, the animation itself, that smoothness of just toggling one bit and then it kind of like going from one direction to the other. And I think, if I'm correct, he added inspector mode, maybe removed from this version. But what he did basically was, it's probably going to be interesting. It was different shape cutouts. So you can imagine you have like a block, let me actually use a paper, because might as well just explain it that way. Imagine that you have a colored shape with that background, with that gradient. And what he did, he basically added several different white blocks around it in which were basically overlapping it as a top layer. And I guess my presumption would be that then you would name each of those white blocks in a certain way, and on a different click you would activate and move the block, let's say, down, or you move the block up, or you move the block down, respectively of what you want to take. So he makes basically a manual masks of kind of like a aperture on a camera. If you click a button, it kind of like resizes and shows more light or less light. So that's exactly what he did, I think. And if not, Timo, feel free to add some notes in the chat, but I think that was the case. And it's an awesome example. To me, it's like immediately I was like, how did you make it? Did you hack it on JavaScript? No, you didn't. You just used some ingenious ways to achieve things, which I wouldn't even think about. So that's a great example. Cool. Let's see what's next. And the last case. Let me just take a sip. Good. Okay. Let me open the last one. And the last one is from Serge. AOZ Design. If I'm pronouncing it right, you're also on this live stream. Let me just pull your prototype. Let's see what you have. And you went and created basically a full-fledged app, I would say. This is basically a big flow. And it's about world data visualization, or, data as an information visualization. So let me see if I actually can push myself to the other end of his stream so it doesn't overlap the good stuff. Whoop. All right, cool. And so there are quite a few pages here. As you can see, there are a couple of them. And basically, as a user, you're able to, what Serge is saying, to discover a world. You can basically explore different geography things. And as you can see, he inserted really quickly, there was an animated loader. And as a user, you're invited to add, let's see, your name. So I'm just going to go by the nickname of this channel, vaexperience. Click go. And it's loading. I guess it's simulated loading of the different bits. And then he's preloading this map of different countries. And as you can see, there is an overlay. Let me just switch off that guide up above. I see my username got fetched in, so I guess what you did, you use a variable to transfer one bit of information to the other page. Again, I have a video for this. If someone doesn't know how to do that, how to capture things from one input field and display it in another page, check it out. And let's see. Okay, and then he's giving like a onboarding type of experience suggestion of what the users could do with this tool, with this app, let's say. And you can go bit by bit. As you can see, he's saying you can move over Australia, let's say, see the tooltip in the up above. You can actually select in the information. So he's guiding. He basically created a simulator as much as the exploratory tool, which is pretty cool. It's rare to see an onboarding done this way, where you can actually walk people through. But all there is, if I'm correct, is that you're basically timing it. So you're displaying certain animation or certain state which switches, and then you're basically waiting for some time and displaying other. And it's all linked to the user interaction in this onboarding box. And as you can see, then you can see Australia, the country data of the world population area and so forth, and then display the data in that way. And he has almost like a progress bar or like a split bar chart diagrams. That's pretty cool. And then you can also zoom in. Cool. I think I went through all the onboarding. Let's see if I can end it and see explore myself. As you can see, once you are done with onboarding, you're able then to click in on different countries and check. So let's say Australia was one, but before that, I want to check in and just zoom in. And as you can see, he simulated the zoom in of the different bits. And then I can just check. What is this? You can drag on the map with a mouse. Huh. I wonder if you used any third-party mapping things. Really interesting. If you did, please write in the comment, because it's really interesting exactly how you would achieve things of that nature, because it's quite complex. And as you can see, the map is in vector. And if I click on Greenland, let's say, I can see the country flag, how much of a population, what's the area, things of that nature. And if I zoom out, it zooms out. That's pretty damn cool. So he made an interactive app of exploring the geography and geographical data. That's pretty cool. All right, and that's the submissions. I mean, this is something like, I usually wouldn't run a live stream to go through these type of things. But hey, it kind of worked. So guys, if you have any questions whatsoever, hit them up in a live chat so I can maybe address it, or maybe you have questions for the actual challengers, for lack of a better term, who submitted their UX prototypes. Hit them up as well. Let's see if I can do a fancy transition. Boom. Or which one was your favorite out of the submissions? It's really interesting to see what you think as a viewer, because you see there is a lot of people who, let's say, commit to these things, but it's quite hard to actually make it happen. Which one is your favorite? Oh well, that's what I asked. I think all of them. I'm trying to be unbiased and impartial. I think, as I said before, all of them have very unique qualities, and that's the best bit about the submissions, because every designer has their own ideas. They read their own books, their own articles. They are exposed to very specific problems in their lives, and they're exposed to very specific apps and services. And so the way they interpret different things is very unique. There is best practices and things of that nature, but that doesn't matter, because you, as a creative person, you link those dots and then come up with something better. And that's what innovation is. And I think this is very innovative, because they had a step up. They had a challenge to, hey, you did all those charts before, or whatever you did, and now pick a new way to do things and challenge yourself to understand why you do what you do. And then we did. And so this, to me, I'm not gonna pick one. I think all of them are awesome. I think if name just one good quality from each, the coronavirus one I really like, because I don't really see many charts like that. It's very rare to have those kind of like a binary, comparison charts, which give you an overview of actual deltas. The second one was the animation from Timo, where you have very it was a very specific way to solve that issue. And the third one from Surge was really good, because it's end-to-end experience, end-to-end app, basically. It's the flow covered from the start till finish, and obviously a lot of work done in it, because every country is selectable and you can see more of the information. So yeah, any other questions, please put them in the comments down below. I'm gonna give another minute or so. There has been almost 20 minutes of live stream for a first live stream. That's, it's a bit taxing, I have to say. I can't cut out all the and all the pauses, which I normally would. And you can probably notice that I slur a lot of things as well because I can't prepare. It's all on the spot. What do you use the time glass for? What time glass? Oh, I gotcha. This time glass. Well, I guess this is a bit unrelated to the challenge, but it's this is Pomodoro technique, if you know of it. It's how to stay productive in chunks of 25 minutes. So this time glass, it costs like $5 on eBay or Amazon, whatever. Basically, it times 25 minutes exactly. Then you take a 5-minute break, and then you get back to 25 minutes flipping it through. It's just a productivity hack which I use when I'm stuck on something or I'm doing boring stuff, so I can actually get it done. Because sometimes you just need that kick. And timing yourself works pretty well, because if I see that I need to make a prototype or a video, even in, let's say, I don't know, 2 sprints or 2 Pomodoro sprints, then I don't spend more than 50 minutes, and I can see a visual cue that, hey, I have this much time left. Let me just get back to it. And the distractions just disappear, basically. So it's a good life hack, productivity hack. So you don't have to buy it. You can just use browser extension and so forth, and then just time yourself, and that works pretty damn well. So yeah, random question, but I like it. Let me see what else is in the chat. Let's see if there's anything else. There's a lot of chat giving each other credit for great submissions. That's rightful. Cosmos Beta is saying that the first submission is quite common on Twitter and news articles for coronavirus, I guess, comparison. Don't think it's that uncommon. Probably, maybe in print. Just interactive side, I don't think it's easy to spot those things on the web, if you think about it. Or you wouldn't spot those things if, let's say, we wouldn't have a comparison of it. Since we are transitioning from a culture where, let's say, it was really common to compare these things when you would have, let's say, certain behaviors, like I said as an example, female and male behavior, because we're transitioning to a next step from that kind of like a binary approach, which, it's, you could question it, you could agree with it, it doesn't really matter, it's politics and so forth, but it's very rare anymore to see those charts, and especially interactive. Because the comparison of two things is like it's just viewed in a strange light these days. So yeah, I mean, I would challenge you on that. The radar diagram is more uncommon. What was really impressing with the usage of a visualization? I think radar diagram is really powerful because the one. Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I'm mixing up now the questions. Yeah, so radar diagram, just on that, if you're interested, I think it's really good. I had a really good project with AI and machine learning, and representing, let's say, several different KPIs which are equally important, and knowing that they could overlap and then increase. It's really useful for some use cases. So it's not as common, but it is common if you go with the big data and working with like really big data sets, basically. Does it beep when it's done? I guess you refer to the timer. No, it doesn't. But it has a nice shade of purple, so you can't ignore it. It's always gonna be in your eyesight as long as you put next to your laptop, let's say, or next to your screen. It definitely is distracting. Glad there weren't any pie charts. That one gets misused, misinterpreted a lot. Yes, it does, but it's also, if, let's say, if you can imagine, if you're a junior designer, you definitely need to create some pie charts just to challenge yourself, because unless you've done it and you know why you do what you do, it's not practice, and so that's that. Sorry, I'm geeking out on charts rather than the interactions. That's totally fine. I think the most important bit, what the takeaway from this challenge, if anyone wants to take something away, is that it always has to be meaningful, because charts, data visualization is always better than a table. That's just, you save time, the cognitive load for people to just go through the different bits and just allow it to kind of like interpret it and make it actionable. Because if the data is not actionable, the data is useless. It means that you, like, why are you even connecting? Why do you have all those signals if you can apply it immediately? What is going to be the next challenge? I guess that's going to be a last question, unless anyone else pops it right now while I'm answering it. And then we're going to call it a day, but I'm not sure yet. It's probably going to be, I don't even know, to be honest. It's hard to say immediately. If you have any requests or you have any suggestions or you want to challenge the public, the viewers, yourself, feel free to do so. So you can, leave a comment down below what you would like the challenge to be like, and then I'm gonna see if it's, I mean, it should be good enough. Why not? Why the hell not? So if you have any ideas, leave them down below, and let's see, if this challenge is actually good. Gamification challenge. Well, that's it. First come, first go. Timo just wrote gamification challenge. Cool. That's it. I guess it's decided. So challenge number 4 for Axure is gonna be gamification challenge. For those who are actually watching this, there is different numbers coming in and out. I can see there was 10, 12 viewers. Well, get on it, basically. You can do it as well. So I'm gonna announce it at some point in the future because of the time. It could be, let's say, in the next few weeks. But then, it could be that you can just start off. Another idea, UX writing challenge. And it's from Aquaflow. How do you see the UX writing challenge? Do you see it like UX copy, which is effective in a way where you see making a UI as well as a copy, which would be which would convert the users, which would achieve a goal? Is that for onboarding or product tours? Okay, interesting. So you are basically saying, let's do a UX copy challenge for something which basically onboards the brand new users to follow through and do something with, let's say, a service or a product. I guess that's the interpretation. It sounds very specific, so I guess it's something you're dealing with right now yourself, but I'm definitely going to note those down. Gamification, UX copy, and I might even, if someone else comes up with an idea, I might make a poll and decide which one goes first. But there is no, there is nothing against having them all one by one as well. Is that like a funnel? Dark Green is asking a question. Yes, and success metrics. Very specific, but really cool. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up. Really good questions, really good submissions. Super proud of the community. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for a couple of ideas for different challenges to come. I hope this is useful, and I hope it's, exciting to see what other people do. Exciting to see how your prototypes are being assessed, reviewed, presented, all those, everything in between. So yeah, thanks so much for submissions, for the makers the most, because they produce the content here. I'm just here to talk and fluff around and answer some questions about it and introduce, basically. So yeah, but yeah, thanks so much, and until next time, peace.